Hello tubers, here we go with the final results of part 4. Does it work? Now we're looking at a picture of the camp with the i700 on it. You can see it turning in the distance up there. It's 30-kilometer winds today. We'll be able to compare some of the notes as to the watt hours created over time based on the i700 in 30-kilometer winds. And we have the Midnight Classic boxes, the sponsored charge controller come in, along with 3 of these lightning arresters. They are just out of the box. They haven't even been opened yet. They will go on the main homestead. Here is the Classic. It is in the place of the Xantrax, and I only just fired this up here now. I picked a random wind track that's not even a wind track for it, but it was enough to activate it and turn it on. And the surprising thing is the Midnight Classic 200, right off the bat, we are at you can see 30-kilometer winds, and the 15 watt hours already created. It has created, I've seen it hit over 1,000 watts. It's absolutely fantastic, the difference in charge controllers, what it makes as to what the turbine can produce. And as we'll watch these results, we do have some 30-kilometer winds. It is idling up and down. However, we must have had a stronger gust than that, but if not, whatever. It produced over 1,000 watts and was absolutely shocking for me to see that based on the charge controller change, because no matter what charge controller I used, I did not see them results as to date until now. But within the first 16 watt hours created on this meter, this Classic 200 has pulled over 1,000 watts out of that wind turbine, the 48 volt overvolted wind turbine. So the question was of one, does it work? Yes, we know it does work, as we've seen in the other videos. And on what can it create, as to 50% of its value, it's already exceeded that. It's a 1600 watt turbine, 48 volt, and it has already popped over 1,000 watts that I have seen in a good wind gust. So that answers the second question. And the third one is the watt hours over time. Understanding that in 30-kilometer winds, I've already created, and I'm going to say under 20 minutes, I've created 18 watt hours. Now, it's only new with this charge controller to say that yes, it's going to create the watt hours over time, but we have to put this to bed, and meaning we don't have a video part 5. I don't see the need for it, because the answer to the question is simple. A good charge controller on a turbine answers those questions for me. If I already seen it hit over 1,000 watts and I'm only in 30-kilometer winds, that is quite delightful to see, to say the least. Understanding that, we'll move forward with the watt hours over time, and this has been created in a very short time. Again, I just got this. It's only out of the box. It's on the wall. It's turned on. This is in fact a sponsored charge controller from Midnight Classic, and I need to do a few more adjustments as to where I am with it, because the wind curve I picked was just a random one, the first one that come up. And I know it's not going to function with this turbine, because it is in fact the fingerprint of another turbine. However, it is data logged inside the machine to say that it would work for testing to get the answers or the results that I'm looking for, and they very much so have. I've even went another step further, and I've used the information or the Midnight Solar graphics panel, and you can see it is working, but I am having a problem making adjustments to this. But I am, however, connected to it somewhat. So at this point now we move on to test the wind curve, because this is only an unboxing basically, and to say we've got this set up and working. And as we monitor this, we can see the numbers that we're seeing on the amp meter that I was just showing you on the laptop. However, I can't make configurable adjustments on this yet. It's just installed, so it's only enough to say that We can test with it, but at this point, that's as far as I am. So I just wanted to give you the update as to, yes, it works. Yes, it's hit over 1,000 watts and 30-kilometer winds. And I can tell you that the difference with a good charge controller is absolutely night and day. So although I'm somewhat connected with the laptop, I have to go in and change the fingerprint of this wind turbine to meet the wind track, or build the wind curve that fits this better, because I do have one drawn up, but that is for another video, because that'll be the wind track for the i1500 overvolted turbine. Now, in my opinion, it really doesn't matter, because the charge controller converts all that power. It's going to take the MPPT technology and convert the higher voltage into ampage and send it into the charge controller, as it does with a solar array or any other layout with the MPPT. Understanding that it should do the same thing as what it's going to do for solar with the wind. And with that theory, well, it's MPPT. Moving forward, this has absolutely blown me away as to what a good charge controller can do. Now, the Xantrax was not designed, the one that was in the other testing, for this kind of testing, and we used it anyways because that's what we had. But now that this new one's here, I can see great improvement or opportunities to develop this further, to say that we'll fingerprint this with its own wind curve with the help of Todd from Midnight Classic. We'll get that information off there to him. But for now, this has only been turned on, and on a 30-kilometer wind, I couldn't help myself. I'm supposed to do an unboxing. Well, this is the unboxing and the results of this, because I gotta say, it's already amazed me, the difference of a good wind charge controller, because the results are in fact night and day. This turbine did hit over 1,000 watts and a good wind gust, and I'm watching now and it's only at 177 watts here on this graph, 268. As one can see, this is 30-kilometer winds. Just imagine, I'm producing 10 amps down there, 9.7, on another wind turbine's fingerprint. So just imagine what I can unlock on this wind turbine with the ability to make them changes for the Midnight Classic charge controller, what further gains we can have. So with that understanding, we're going to put this theory to bed to say that this is obviously success. So we're going to put this theory to bed to say that yes, all three do work, and I've already exceeded more than half the value of the turbine. It is creating more amp hours than one could expect in 30-kilometer winds, and I'm absolutely blown away in this testing to say what a good charge controller can do in wind. Understanding that, we move forward. Now the i700 is in fact set up at the Young Fellas Camp, so I will make the wind curve adjustments when I get further advanced with these settings in the computer, because I'm having a problem making the changes. However, I can connect to it and give the results, but I can't change the wind curve until I finish the connectivity on this the network. So with that said, we'll move forward with the follow-up and end of the final results to say yes, it can, it did, it will, and has produced beyond my expectations, all of them. To just say one thing, guys, you got a good wind turbine and you got one of these Midnight Classics. They're absolutely superb to anything I've even measured wind with, and this is 30-kilometer winds. So not that it's over the top, because that's not the claim. What the claim is does it work? Yes, it does. How much can it create over the 50%? It's already done it in 30 kilometers. Now in the kilowatt hours. Well, that's for another video, because in the conclusion of putting this to bed, I've already got that answer, that it's very productive in 20 to 30 kilometer hour winds. So that answers all the questions, and to be honest, has exceeded my expectations. So until next time, guys, keep testing, and these are the latest results as to what I have in the findings, and they are all success. The i1500 has married the man cave and will stay here, and we will move on to flying the i2000 next on the off-grid homestead. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Keep testing.